Alright guys, I got it on. It was interesting. As you can see, shit's spraying everywhere. Took me all day yesterday and from 7 o'clock this morning. I think it's about 1 o'clock now. But turned out pretty good. I'll show you how everything's in line. You have to drill, and drill some more. Every hole on this kit was not right. You got just be prepared if you get it. You got to re-drill everything. And but that's how it ended up mounting up. I had to make a track bar because the track bar that they give you, it won't work. It says on this kit you got to have at least 4.5 inches of lift. Well, 8.5. It puts this track bar way up here at an angle like it was. So I ended up making one. I put a Daystar bushing and sleeve on this end and got it the right length. But you can look, you know, they're a pretty good angle now. And every hole on this bracket, none of them, you got to re-drill everything on it. It's a pain in the butt, this kit is. I mean, I like the way it turned out, but good Lord. Yeah, I mean, I use everything I own to make it work. And part of that yesterday too was putting ball joints in. Everybody knows how fun they are. But we'll see how it holds up. I got it in there about an hour ago. You got to drill. You got to mount this up. The way I would do it if it was on the Jeep is go ahead and put your wheel bearing, because it mounts behind the wheel bearing back here. Bolt the wheel bearing on, bolt it down here, and then pull all this in, because you're going to have to pull it in, and you got to grind this flat. It tells you in the instructions. But you could pull all this in and do it on this part of it on the Jeep. Probably would be easier than having it off the Jeep. I had to mock it up in the drill press and do it because I had all this off. But maybe this part would probably be a little bit easier with it on the Jeep. But you gotta drill these out to 5/16, tap them to 3/8. These are 3/8 bolts going through here, and this is a 5/8 bolt. You gotta drill that out to 5/8. Then what I did was I run a longer bolt through there, and I put nuts. Let's see if we can see it. Put nuts on the bottom, so those are threaded tight, and then those nuts are tight. And you know, of course, that's just straight through. But the brackets over here, yeah, this probably wouldn't be that. This wasn't really that bad, but you gotta. None of these holes, the bolts would go through them, even in the bracket. I'm talking, not lining up here. They wouldn't even go in the bracket. So they may leave them small a little bit to where you got to drill it straight, you know. But it drills through there. There's still another bolt I got to put in down here. Got to cut this off, and I'm gonna take a plate, piece of quarter inch plate, and run a gusset down above this bolt and weld it up there. And I'm probably gonna weld it over here too. I mean, it's got a big strap that holds it down right here. I'm probably gonna put a bead right there too. But I like the way it turned out. I like the way the finished product I like, but I didn't like doing it too much. Don't buy this and think you're just gonna bolt it on in a few hours. It's gonna take you a while because of, you know, when you're having to re-drill holes and stuff, it just takes forever when you're doing that stuff. And drilling holes is like painting to me. I can't stand it. It takes forever. But I made that to make that work. The stock one, the stock setup they got one of these bigger ball joints that goes into your factory mount, and that'll probably work fine for like a 4.5 inch lift. But on this, you can't. On this Jeep, you can't run that. I had it on here before. This thing's got so much down, so much drop. You know, that ball joint, that tie rod end's only gonna move so far, and it's gonna want to peel it out of there. And that's what happened to mine. It kept peeling it out. So I was gonna do this anyway. But if I would have hooked it up, it would have been way up here, too high. So I'm sorry about the wind. The wind's blowing today. But anyway, let me get out from under here. I wanted to show you all that. I got it. I like it. I'm happy with it. But if you get it, it's not going to be no couple hours deal unless yours are lined up. It's all that welding they do on them plates. There's so many weld beads on it that when they got it in the jig, if they ain't letting it cool all the way off, everything's going to tweak when if you just take it off the jig hot and throw it in a drum. Most of y'all weld and stuff, y'all know that, but that's why damn bolt holes don't line up. But I bought I got the Daystar Stinger bump stops, and I got them coming. They should be here next week, and we're going to mount 2 of them here, and I'm going to attempt, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it yet or not, but I'm going to attempt to put the Daystar Stingers in here, mount them up in here, take the spring out, fit something over the tube down to clamp to the bump stop, and we'll try them things out. They look pretty cool to me. I think they'll work way better than what I got, which is nothing. So, but I'm gonna get them. We'll start working on those. Keep us from messing our suspension up again. And then next will be doing the gears and stuff. But I want to get all this stuff out of the way first. That way when we get this thing back together, maybe we can wheel it for another 2 years and not have to mess with it. I got to do the U-joints and all that kind of stuff too, which ain't no big deal. But as far as the Rocky, let me see, Rocky Road Outfitters high steer, it's a job, it's a challenge to get it on there. It may not have been so bad if I'd had the knuckles on the Jeep and did it on the Jeep, but I had to make that, you know, track bar, which took time, and I had to measure and cut, and you know, it just takes extra time with that. So that's probably why it took me a day and a half to do it. But I still got to do the steering stabilizer. I couldn't use this either. The stock Pitman arm had been too high up. So but anyway, guys, there you go. Rocky Road Outfitters high steering. And I told y'all wrong what I paid for that. It was $748 for everything I got. With shipping and all. Their shipping was pretty high too. But we'll see how it holds up. I'm definitely going to have to change those tie rod ends out eventually, because that's what it's got in them and they ain't worth a crap. But we'll run them as long as we can and see what happens. Anyway, boys, I'll update y'all when I get the bump stops in. I got to clean up this mess, and I think I'm gonna go chill out for the rest of the day. Probably tackle that steering stabilizer another day. Y'all take it easy. I'll give you one more look at it from the front. It's definitely high up. We'll see how long it lasts. Y'all take it easy. Have a good one, man. Bye.